my fellow Kenobians. Today I want to quickly address you about Daystar. Okay, and I really don't talk a lot about Daystar. I leave that up to all of my fellow YouTube pundits and my YouTube truth tellers, the ones that have launched and continue to talk about what's happening at Daystar and Jonathan and Susie Lamb and their child. So I'm not really going to go into that. I want to quickly talk about what's happening in our response to it, because no one's talking about this in all of the truth telling. Now, it's been rumored that Joni Lamb right now has terminal cancer. It's been rumored right now that Joni Lamb is suffering an illness, real serious illness, and the comments that her husband made, Doug Weiss, that she hurt her back, is really related to the cancer. Okay, now here's my problem with that. I've heard a lot of the different truth-telling podcast people who follow this whole Daystar story. And it seems to me, and I'm going to be honest about it, that they're gloating a little bit. That, in their talking about Daystar, they're jumping in front of God and saying that God is raining down judgment on Joni for what she did to Jonathan, Susie, and allowed Pete to do to her granddaughter and what she's done to her granddaughter. And make no mistake about it, Joni Lamb has done some dirty deeds. She's done some bad things to her granddaughter, to her son, and to her daughter-in-law. And she's got to count to God for that. But what I don't like to see is I don't like to see our Christian brothers and sisters who believe that they have the Christian and moral high ground over Joni to actually gloat over it and act as if that you're on the in track or whatever God is trying to do with Joni Lamb. They're acting as if they know that this is God's punishment, and this punishment's going to continue on Joni until Joni relents, until Joni pronounces justice and gives justice and repents before God. Now, we really don't know. I don't know what God is doing with Joni Lamb, and I know that there's cases where sin and sickness are connected. But you know what I also know? I also know that God doesn't like us gloating over the downfall of our enemies. I know that for a fact because that's scripture. Proverbs 24:17-18. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it and be displeased and turn his anger away from him. Now, what I'm trying to say is, instead of criticizing Joni, we still should be praying for Joni because we don't know what God is doing. And we need to be very careful when we step into that prophetic judgment zone that the truth tellers criticize the other churches and other false prophets for stepping in that same judgment zone. At least when something happens to the truth tellers, those same people like Joni Lamb could be saying, hey, listen, they jumped on me and they jumped on you and now they're getting it too. We just need to step out of the way and step back and let God be God. And the final thing I'm going to say is this. Everybody's asking for judgment for Jonathan Lamb and Susie Lamb and also for Baby Lamb, and they deserve justice, and I'm praying they get it. And I'm praying that Joshua gets what's coming to him for what he did, allegedly. Now, here's the big thing, though, and here's the bottom line. When you're talking about Jonathan Lamb, if Jonathan Lamb is half the person that we all believe him to be all over the YouTube community, do you really think Jonathan and Susie are sitting there saying, oh, great, God is getting your mother. God is making your mother sick with cancer because she said this about me and said this about you. And she said, I had you by the balls. And she said all this and God allowed this to happen. Oh, good, good, good. Do you really think Jonathan Lamb and Susie Lamb are doing that if they're the people you think they are? Or do you think Jonathan Lamb is heartbroken because my mother is sick and I can't get to my mother? My mother's sick and she won't take my phone call. My mother is sick and I can't even go see her because everybody is going to jump on me and attack me. And my mother would refuse to see me if she is on a deathbed. She's refusing to see me. I think his heart's broken. And I think, to be perfectly honest, we best be serving Jonathan and supporting him by not openly criticizing his mother and wishing death and destruction on her. That's just my thoughts. Pray for me if you think I'm wrong. But let's all just sit back, be silent, let God be God, and let God deal with Joni and Daystar.